Bows and bow ties, I want to welcome you back to another chit chat with me. Um, so let's get right on into it. I want to talk about packing cubes. I have no interest in using packing cubes, and I have a whole bunch of petty reasons why. Well, not all of them are petty, but let me just say this. Number one, let me get myself together here. I just think they're too much work. You already have to fold or roll your clothing unless you're just one of those people who just tosses the clothes in the luggage, right? Most people don't do that. But you have to go through all of this folding and rolling or whatever it is that you do. And then you got to pack it in the packing cube. And then you got to take the packing cube and put it in your luggage. That's too much work. When I'm trying to travel, I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to have to work just to travel. Typically, for me, it should be about comfort. So I want to spend the least amount of time traveling. The least amount of time packing. I want to spend the least amount of time packing, okay? So the last thing I want to do is go through all this effort of folding and rolling or whatever it is that you do, and then putting that in the packing cube, and then putting the packing cube in my luggage, and then closing my luggage. All right, let's get into the next thing. Number two, I feel like they take up space. Now, I know it seems like, but yeah, they're helping you to organize, but why can't you just organize within your actual luggage? Why do you have to organize within a cube and then in your cube, organize your cubes in your luggage? And so it may not seem like that big of a deal, but I feel like it's just too much. I'm already exhausted. So I'm one of those people who does not use packing cubes. So while everybody went to look, let me just say this. Everyone went on that craze when they went out and bought all of those travel sized little bottles and containers and stuff. I don't do that either. I just bring what I'm going to bring or bring a travel size version of it. I think I take that back. There's one thing that I put in a travel size thing, and that was when I wear braid spray. I have a small thing of braid spray, but most of the time, if I am going someplace where I usually just check my luggage anyway, and the braid spray goes in there. So getting back to the packing cubes, look, I don't want to have to organize my packing cubes and then they take up space. Now, let me get into the next thing. Now this may sound controversial, but I rarely roll my clothing. I'm going to tell you the reason why, and I'll get back to the packing cube thing. See, I flat fold my clothes. I don't like fold them into like 5 million folds so then it is these little cubes or whatever. I fold my clothing so that everything lies flat. That's it. It's not that deep. It is not that deep. So I get it. While people want to roll up their clothing, right? Well, there's a variety of reasons. For one, it helps to, I guess, save space. I don't know if it's that much of a difference in space that you're trying to save, but also it helps with the whole wrinkle thing. Well, the way I solve that problem with the whole wrinkling of the clothing thing is I just try to bring clothing that doesn't really wrinkle all that easy. It's just where I'm at with it. Why do I have to roll my clothing? I'll do one or two folds, right? And I make everything lie flat. I make everything flat. Now, this is the thing. My next point. The reason why I don't roll up my stuff, right? Because a lot of people roll up things and they put it in the packing cubes because everyone's trying to save space. The problem is, I think it does help you save some space, but I think you run the risk of overpacking. You overpack. I don't want to overpack. I find that if I just use a little bit of common sense, and hey, no offense to everybody. Look, if you want to be a big time roller, roll your clothes. But I find that if I just pack my clothing and I don't put a ton of like folds and I make everything lie as flat as possible, I get plenty of clothing in my luggage. And let me tell you something, when I'm traveling, I don't like packing my luggage to the hilt anyway. The reason why I do that is number one, well, there's two reasons. One, what if I want to bring something back? Two, I typically will pack a bag that's like a nylon bag or something, like not nylon, but like a garment bag or something, or like just a bag that can lie flat in there. So like, let's say you were going to take this bag to the beach or something. I don't know, but it's like a bag that you could probably put your clothing in or whatever. But if you don't use it, it's in your suitcase and it's flat anyway, and you can use that, right? That's it. So I don't want to get to the point where I'm overpacking and using these packing cubes so you can get as much in there as possible. And now actually your bag is probably heavier anyway because you're like, well, I can fit more stuff in here. No, minimize that stuff. You don't need to I don't know. The whole packing cube thing is exhausting. Just looking at it, I'm just kind of like, you got to do too much and pack it a certain way and then take the packing cubes and pack the packing cubes. And this is like, no. All right, let's move on. I just feel like this. You don't need a cube to help you be organized. Just get organized. If you can do that with a cube, you can do it without the cube. You can put your stuff in little sections. I put my items in little sections. That's just where I'm at with it. Like, why do you need a packing cube? Like, this is just team too much. All right, moving on. I feel like packing cubes are a scam. I said it. I find it's just another thing that people are trying to get you to just capitalize on. Like, you got to have these packing cubes to organize yourself. Organize yourself. Just like when we went through that whole thing with, like I said, with purchasing the travel size containers. I'm like, I never really got into that craze. I just bring what I want to bring because most times I'm going to be checking my luggage anyway. And so unless you have something that you can't purchase in the travel form, like I just kind of feel like, why do I have to go through all this effort? I got to like pour stuff in and no, I'm not going through all that. And so even if you're going to try to carry it with you on the plane, just buy the travel size version. Figure it out. Like it's just not even that hard. But what I don't want to do is trying to like dump stuff into another container. This is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Anyway, shenanigans. So let me just move on to something else. I feel like, now full disclosure, I do have a toiletry bag. Okay. So I guess you can call that a packing cube, but I've always had a toiletry bag for as long as I can remember. So maybe this just makes me a hypocrite. I mean, maybe it makes me a hypocrite. The point I'm making is I like to have a travel bag that has all of my toiletries. So whenever I'm traveling, I don't worry about soap, toothpaste, deodorant, moisturizer, lotions, or whatever, right? I have, if I need to clip my nails or something, or I don't know, whatever things that I need, things to scrub my face, I don't know, shower caps, all that kind of stuff, right? That stays packed. So when it's time for me to travel, I don't worry about that stuff. All those things are already packed. They're always packed. So the only thing that I will go through is occasionally swap out an old, like a toothbrush maybe, or make sure that my supplies are good, like my toothpaste, or like maybe I have some travel shower gel, or I don't know. So full disclosure, in my travel bag, I keep things like back in the day when like hotels used to give you like the body soaps, whatever. That's like my emergency. Okay, in case you get someplace and I don't know, because a lot of hotels, at least from my experience, they've gone towards having, I guess, the stuff that's built into the shower or on the wall, whatever. So it's not like the individuals. The point I'm making is, from a packing cube standpoint, I just use like my travel bag. That's the only thing that I can say that goes in, and it's almost like a cube or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Otherwise, I don't use packing cubes. I don't. If anything, I might put a plastic bag in it, just like a regular old plastic bag or whatever it is. If I think I'm going to have to pack something wet, I will have something like that to separate the wet from the dry, like in my dirty section or whatever like that. And depending on where we are, if we're at a place where we can wash our clothing, we do it. You build that into your budget so that you're not coming back with a whole bunch of dirty clothes. And you don't have to do a whole bunch of separating. I'm just saying. Like, build that into your budget. Build the extra couple of dollars into your budget so that you don't have to worry about having a packing cube for your dirty clothes. Anyway, um, and getting back to why I don't use packing cubes, I know I alluded to it earlier. I know people think that that's going to save space and you roll up your clothes and stuff like that, and that's great. But the one thing that I don't worry about is having a bunch of wrinkled clothing. I try to make sure when I'm traveling someplace, I'm not concerned about my clothing being wrinkled. So definitely, if it's like summertime, chances are if you're going someplace where it's really warm and there's a lot of water, chances are you're not going to bring multiple sets of clothing for that day every day, right? Because you're going to be in swim clothing a lot or a cover up or whatever. That takes up virtually no space. It takes up no space. So when you bring like several, maybe like bathing suits or one or two cover ups, usually just one for me, um, things like your sandals or your flip flops or whatever it is, like that doesn't take up a whole lot of space. So why am I concerned about conserving a lot of space? So like if you're going someplace where you need to have more clothing, for example, chances are you might wear like your pair of jeans more than once or something like that. If there's a place where I know that there's laundry services available, for example, when my family and I, when we go on cruises, we don't sit there and pack our luggage to the hilt with packing cubes and a whole bunch of stuff because we're going to make use of the laundry services there. That way, we have space in our luggage. We're not worried about conserving space, but we have space in our luggage in case we want to pick up, a t-shirt or a tank top from wherever it was that we visited. Or, I don't know, I don't know. We're kind of like out of that trinket phase, but like if there's some unique thing that we may want to bring back in our luggage. Yeah. So the point I'm making is, look, I'm not really into the whole packing cube thing. I'm just not about that life. I'm just not. I don't want to. It's just too much work. Again, I don't want to pack or fold my clothes just to put it and stuff it in a freaking packing cube and then pack my packing cube, which actually takes up space in my luggage that I want to not use up a whole lot of space for. I'm just saying. All right. Okay, look, just let me know. Am I like doing too much? I just feel like I'm the only one who has it right. I think it's just me. I think all the rest of you have it wrong and I have it right. All right. Until the next video, let me know your thoughts. Go ahead and give me that thumbs up because, well, I think I'm entertaining. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Until next time.